Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. And quickly before we get started, my neighbors are doing something that makes a knocking sound every once in a while, so you may hear some of that in the background. So hear that, you know what it is. Other than that, let's get started. So today I wanted to talk about imposter syndrome, which I'm pretty sure most of you have thought about, because that is something that neurodivergent people tend to struggle with a lot. Imposter syndrome being you are afraid that you are actually not as good and capable as you think, and that someday somebody is going to point at you and say, see, they're a fraud, like something like that. But then of course more dramatic than that. And I'm pretty sure if you're on YouTube regularly, you probably also have seen quite a few videos with titles that say, these are 10 things to show that you're not actually autistic, or 10 things that show that you're not actually AuDHD, or 10 reasons why you don't actually have ADHD, or something like that. And you click on them, obviously, because you want to make sure that you actually do have it. And I'm pretty sure even if you have a piece of paper from a psychologist saying that you actually do have these conditions, if you even find one questionable thing in one of those videos, you're going to start doubting the whole validity of that. And I get that those videos are mostly made because a lot of things are called neurodivergent these days, or at least that seems to be the case. I don't really know. Definitely in popular media, there will be characters in TV that have certain symptoms or they do certain things, and then the TV show wants you to think that they're actually autistic or something. For the longest time, people thought that Rain Man was autistic, but that wasn't quite the case either. So people just kind of had the idea of, oh, if somebody's autistic, then they're going to be like Rain Man, stuff like that. But people on the spectrum themselves are also questioning whether they are actually on the spectrum or if they are perhaps pretending. So that's why we watch those videos quite religiously. And it goes back and forth because sometimes you have videos that say this, that, or the other. And you're thinking, okay, I kind of do that, but I don't do the other thing. And then you're like, maybe because I don't do 5 out of 12, maybe I'm not autistic or something. And then there's videos that are very confirming on the other side. So we keep going back and forth. And ultimately, whether you have a piece of paper or not, the fact of the matter is that there is something that you notice about yourself that makes you different, and that difference, if it kind of looks, acts, walks, and quacks like a duck, there's a good chance you're probably correct. And it doesn't really harm people to think that you are maybe on a neurodivergent spectrum. Like some other people have already said, worst case scenario, you just learn more about neurodivergent people and you become more knowledgeable and sensitive on that topic. And on the other hand, you could be correct, and then you'll have some explanation as to what's going on with you, so that's gotta be worth something. But imposter syndrome can also be caused because we also mask quite a bit in order to try and fit in. That's the other imposter syndrome that we tend to struggle with. We like to present as normal as possible. Some people do, some people don't. Most of them do to some degree. So you may have built up a persona around yourself that people, say at work or at your hobby club, wherever you go, tend to recognize as, hey, that's so you. But if they were to visit you at your house at an unexpected time, don't worry, they're not actually at your door. I know I kind of scared you there, but just for the sake of pretending, let's say that that was the case, they would probably see a very different person. At least initially, when you've only just opened the door and you're like, who, what the hell's going on over here? After that, you'd probably try to put the mask on real quick. And they would definitely see a different person if they were able to observe you without you knowing that they're there. Which also sounds creepy, but let's not dig too much into that. Definitely not looking at you right now. Anyway, so there is the masking thing that makes you pretend to be somebody that you're not. And that creates expectations that you may not always be able to keep. And then in particular, on days that you can't keep them, you get all these disappointed looks, etc. People kind of look at you like, what's going on with them today? They were able to do it last week. Why not now? What's the matter? Just go ahead and do it. You've done it before, etc. But particularly with AuDHD, you have ADHD and autism kind of struggling inside of you. On the one hand, you want to do the right things as correctly as possible because of the autism side, and you get really frustrated when that doesn't work. On the other hand, you have your ADHD that makes you kind of inconsistent and really motivates you only when you're interested in a particular topic. For instance, I really don't like reading, but for a certain course I have to do quite a bit of reading. And it's really difficult because I don't really care too much. The writing itself is very stale and it goes into way too much details. I always need examples. They don't really give too many examples. So that's a struggle. But give me a book on, say, how the body influences the brain and your reactions, etc. Like a book, I think by Adam Alter, called Drunk Tank Pink. And I'll read that cover to cover, no problem at all, because I really like that topic. So, now of course most people find it easier to study something when they are interested in it, but with people with ADHD, it is extreme. So then you get the inconsistent performance. And at the end of the day, we feel like whenever somebody praises us for our results, that we actually kind of fake them because that's not something that we can do consistently. And one day for sure, they're going to figure out that we're a fraud, etc. And then that is the jig being up. Now, I'm no expert, but I'm thinking that if we want to deal with this, we should probably keep remembering that this is just part of our condition, something that we can't help, that we feel this way, and we are allowed to be proud of some results. And I think we can objectively note what traits we have, like what we are capable of doing in the ways of skills. So maybe we can kind of rely on our competency, that we know that we can do things. And if we also kind of stick with our internal world more, we can figure out exactly what the right moment to do something is, because you'll see that spike go up like, oh, now I have the energy to do this or that. Or you can see it dropping and go, okay, well, maybe I'll have to wait because if I do it right now, it's not going to turn out right, and then I'll just end up being disappointed. So it's kind of like a balancing act between these two. And if at all possible, you could also try to tell the people that you work with or the people that expect things from you how this kind of works within you, like give them the cliff notes, because they probably don't want to hear the entire explanation, but more like, hey, some days I'm not going to be able to do this, other days I'm going to be able to do it, so I'm going to try to do my best with what I have and produce the best results that I can. So if you could be patient with us, that would be great. But for now, those are my thoughts on imposter syndrome. Don't watch too many of those videos that give you the lists of things that show that you are or aren't this or that, because that might only make things worse. Just be gentle with yourself, do some exploration to see exactly what type of situations you check out on, what type of situations you thrive in. Try to get more of the latter and less of the former. And for now, I want to thank you for watching / listening. I'll see you next time, and bye-bye for now.